up? Yay! We getting it, boy.
What's good? You know who it is. It's your boy, Jay in the Bay.
Your baller back again. Smells like football season.
Yo. Whoa, whoa.
What is up, San Francisco 49er faithful? Welcome to Straight Out of the Bay. Whether you're from the Bay or the UK, you know what it is, man. What's up, Jay? What's up, Baller? Eric? What's up, Amin the Dream, man? Hey, man, it's a little bit hard to keep a little bit of a smile with. Hey, we're all disappointed, and I'm sure there's plenty of blame to go around. But regardless, man, hey, man, we're a crew, just like the 49ers are a crew. And I just feel the disappointment. It just sucks to end the way that it did without being able to show our best versus who they say is the best. But I'll just start with you. How you doing, Jay?
Hey, I'm doing good, man. We got punched in the mouth yesterday, and it's not the first time it's happened. It won't be the last. I'm confident about the off season, though. That's for sure. We got a lot of pieces. I think this team can still be great. But yeah, definitely it was a tough game to watch. Definitely a tough game to watch. But glad to be here. Glad to be with you three gentlemen and talking about our Niners. That's for sure.
I completely forgot about the chat. What's up, Eric? How you feeling, my man? And I know it's tough, man. Hey, this smile, hey, I got a smile just because I'm happy to see y'all. Real talk. after, hey, but what up, Eric? How you doing, man?
Fellas, I'm doing good. You know, that I will say that was the most frustrating game I've ever watched. It was watching just a slow death. 49ers played half a football game without a quarterback. It was frustrating to watch. And, you know, before the injuries to both the quarterbacks, there was some football that was played. And we are going to hit on some points because whether the outcome could have been different, had some decisions been made in game, we'll get to that here in a bit. But overall, I'm good, fellas.
Great to hear. How you doing, Amin? How you doing, man?
Disappointed. Disappointed. One word, just pain. Pain. ... Just pain. It sucks. It obviously hurts. Last 2 years, making it this far, being one game away from making it to another Super Bowl the last 2 years, and then falling short yet again. And, compared to last year, to not even have a chance to compete in this game when both your quarterbacks get hurt, not one, but two, to not even have a chance to compete in this game because your quarterbacks got injured. I mean, it just sucks, especially in the last game of the season. It's hard. It's heartbreaking. And, it'll take me a week to get through this, but I'm still proud of this team and what they've accomplished this year, and there's a lot to look forward to in the future.
Yeah, we want to say, hey, I feel it. I feel it, man. I had a Beto on my channel after, I felt like I had to go live like right away. I wanted to let my heart speak, and then Beto was trying to kind of calm me down a little bit. So we all feel the pain, man. We're Niner faithful. We're Niner fans, But Steve-O Soprano, bro, he made me laugh a little bit. He said replacement chains, bizarre game. Hey, real talk. Hey, once I seen that, I was like, oh man, this thing. The ball is hitting the wire. Balls are hitting the wires off a punch. Just everything about it, man, was just off the hook. Hey, man, this is basically a venting session, and then maybe we could talk about, the future, man. Just any points you guys want to touch on. I don't really got any topics lined up, but it is what it is. The game happened, and I guess I could start off with the. I don't feel like, one major tweet I did put out was it just feels like there's a quarterback injury that's always surrounding the San Francisco 49ers. I'm not going to sit here and be like, hey, what Kyle Shanahan called, what he did, that play action, it's his fault. I'm not sitting there saying that. But what I am saying, we went through 4 quarterbacks. I mean, I had it written down, I believe. We've played Hoyer, Beathard, Garoppolo, Trey, like every single one of these quarterbacks, like I understand it's a violent sport. Football happens. But the 49ers in the past 5-6 years have had the most injuries out of anybody in the NFL. Anybody. And it just sucks to see the season come down to us not being able to. I mean, we were down to our fourth quarterback. The way the season started is the way it ended, and it just sucks, man. That's just the whole piece. That's my whole piece that I want to get off, and it's a damn shame that it ended the way it ended. And if you guys want to take it off from there, thank you.
Yeah, I'll say huge shout out to everyone that's in the chat right now. We appreciate you joining us tonight, whether you're watching on Straight Out of the Bay YouTube, Jay in the Bay, Bay Area Baller, Amin the Dream, or Kelts Chronicles. We appreciate you guys tuning in tonight. I like what someone said in the comments. They said the game was weird from the start. I think it was Fazil. Elijah Mitchell getting inactive right before the game, like an hour before kickoff. That sucked. Fred Warner getting hurt like on the second play of the game. It was basically just downhill from there. I mean, Nick Bosa standing on the sideline, getting taken out by a Eagles player. Like, it was just everything that could go wrong did go wrong for this Niners squad. And yeah, it was definitely one of the most frustrating games I've ever watched, because once Purdy got hurt, I mean, Johnson came in. I mean, he led us on our first touchdown drive. Obviously,
I still thought we were going to win with Johnson.
I thought he was playing solid, right? Yeah. So, obviously the Eagles score. I mean, I don't want to say too much, but just what first comes to mind is the defense. Like, the defense kept us in the game, but then they kind of lost the game for us. After the Eagles scored that touchdown, their first drive, the 49ers defense stopped them on three straight drives. So 49ers defense kept us in the game, but then they allowed those stupid penalties. And everyone loves Dre Greenlaw, but it's like, damn, man, it's like every game, it's the same thing over and over. It's just penalties. And it's just it just kills the team. And then when Johnson lost the fumble, just took his eyes off the ball. It's just like,
I've seen this,
man.
What do you expect from a four-string quarterback? But at least he has to take the snap.
That's not even an excuse you can give.
I seen his heart.
Yeah, it's no excuse.
I seen his heart beating out of his chest. Like, I felt the pressure. Like, sometimes I explained it to Beto. When you get some people get scared and they get super weak. Some people get scared and punch someone in the throat. Just out of reaction. And you seen Josh Johnson go for the fumble. His heart was beating out his chest.
He pulled a Cam Newton.
Oh, he was scared. He was scared, bro. And hey, who knows? I might have been terrified if I was thrown in that situation. But it sucks because we seen Brock Purdy be fearless in that situation, and then to go from fearless to scared.
But there was a reason why he wasn't on a team. I mean, I'm not trying to blame Josh Johnson. I mean, I wasn't expecting him to win the game, but just allow us to compete. And he kind of took that away. And hopefully he's doing well. I know no one's really talked about it, but he was concussed. So I hope Josh Johnson is doing well. But that sucks to be in that position. You're a four-string guy. You just got to the team a month, but at least you got to catch the ball, man. You got to take the snap. Like, that's just bare minimum. But I'll let the other people go ahead.
Well, fellas, it needs to be talked about. All right. 4th and 3, 4th downs are pivotal plays in the game. All right. That's an opportunity where your offense is now going to take over the ball. If you get a stop or if the other team converts, now they're in the red zone. That was an absolutely pivotal play early in that game. And immediately, even from just the broadcast view, when I was watching it, I'm saying, did he catch it? Did he hold on to that? We knew he went to the ground and he was rolling.
Looked like a catch to me.
Then you saw Talanoa. No, I was questioning it right off the bat. We didn't have a great angle, right?
Right.
Devontae Smith his back was towards the camera, so we got
how fast they were going.
But if you saw Talanoa Hufanga, immediately Hufanga saying incomplete, he was right there. Okay, so that's a red flag. So, fellas, this is on two parties absolutely botched this play. First off, it was Kyle Shanahan and the coaching staff for not throwing the challenge flag. That is that big of a pivotal play early in that game where
14-point
if it's
swing.
even questionable, like you got to throw the flag. That's a 4th down. That's an opportunity to get the ball. All right. Otherwise, the Eagles, with that catch, I mean, they're in prime scoring position. And 2 plays later, they walked it in the end zone. But Shanahan botched it. He needed to throw the challenge flag on that play. But secondly, fellas, the NFL botched it. All right. I'm going to read this. The NFL instituted a new rule at the start of the 2021 season, alternatively known as the replay assist or expedited review rule, that allows either on-site replay official or a member in the league office in New York City to make a quick reversal when there is immediate, clear, and obvious evidence that one is necessary. And that they got all the camera angles in New York. Okay, so it's almost like, okay, Shanny, maybe they didn't have all the cameras, right? Eagles are hurrying up. That's another tell. When Devontae Smith sprints the ball to the center, to the referee, to get the ball snapped immediately, that's a sign that something's going on. He could have dropped it, all right? But the NFL blew it. They should have reversed it because the NFL has all the camera angles in New York. They got all of them. So it was blown on multiple levels. You know, the Brock Purdy injury, I mean, it really sucked. You know, 49ers block tight ends quite often. You know, we know Kittle blocks a little more sometimes than we would like. We want him getting out there, catching balls, getting yards. But it's like in that situation, fellas, it's almost like, why does no one ever whip out a 6th offensive lineman, right? You're telling me, like, what's the tell? The defense knows if it's run or pass. Well, you could probably run it better with a 6th offensive lineman, and probably a 6th offensive lineman is going to hold up better in pass pro. So I know it's taboo. It's like, oh, there's a 6th lineman checking in. You got to do the signal, right? You got to signal to the referee. Are you eligible and whatnot? But it's like, dude, why not just block them with a lineman? Why not? Because they got that 5-man front that the Eagles, you know, they go 4-man wide 9, but then they got the 5-man front. So if you're scheming up some kind of shot play where you're trying to get the ball down the field, which is what they were trying to do, trying to get it to Ayuk on like a double move where he was hitting back towards the corner, why not put an extra offensive lineman out there? So, I mean, I'm going to rant more, but I'll cut myself off right there. Otherwise, I'll keep going.
I was just going to say that's a valid point, but I think at the end of the day, Croft is paid to do a job, and he failed at his job yesterday. He's supposed to block. We know Croft isn't catching 10 balls a game. He's not getting targeted hella times. Like, your job on a play action pass, you got to block, and he failed at that, and that got Brock Purdy hurt. I'm sure Tyler Croft has performed that block multiple times during the regular season. He went up against someone who was all pro in Reddick, and Reddick made a play. And that's what guys do. The best of the best, they make plays. And that's what he did yesterday. I just, you know, it sucks that, you know, Purdy got hurt and now he's going to be out. I'm sure we'll talk about that, but yeah, man, great points about the NFL, seeing the angles, because during the game, they only showed maybe 2-3 angles. And by then, the Eagles are already snapping the ball on the next play. So, yeah.
I know. But you got to listen to your players, though. Huff was trying to let you know it's incomplete.
I didn't even see that. Honestly, I saw Huff there, but I didn't see him do it. Honestly, it happened so fast. I would have to watch it again, but it happened so fast.
To just put a finishing topping on the end of that play, Purdy should have stepped up in the pocket, and at the same time, I will say this.
Shanahan did say that, yeah.
What a horrible play call by Shanahan to call that kind of a play that early in the game when one of the best defenders is Hassan Reddick, and to put him in a position to succeed with Croft. Horrible on Shanahan. Horrible on Brock Purdy not moving up in the pocket. But he is a rookie. It is what it is. In the biggest game of their life, it just didn't go well, and it wasn't a good idea, I don't think, on any level. Whether that play is run 1,000 times, you don't immediately give the opposition a free run at your rookie. You protect him to the fullest. He's the most important position on the football field, and you knew you had Josh Johnson behind him. You protect him at all costs versus a ferocious line like this. I want to hit up Corey Davis on this real quick because yeah, man. Hey, the super chat, I don't know who it went to, but we appreciate you, Corey Davis.
Appreciate that, KD.
Real talk. hot diggity dog. What do you guys think about Trent Williams' fight? Hey, it looked like he was protecting one of his own. And if a bully want to start pulling some bully stuff, you know, there's hey, if there's ever going to be a bully beater, that's Trent Williams. It looked like he did, you know, he snatched him up and he put him on the ground. You know, it was when it comes to football, I love that kind of stuff. You know, when it's cheap shots or fights, like I hate it. But how do you feel? I mean, it's been a minute since you talked, and you could talk about anything you want, even besides this. But
I mean, I'm just disappointed because last year, like I said, last year, you blow the 10-point lead, but you had the opportunity to compete in the game, and you got beat by a team that just ultimately played better in the Rams last year. This year, you went on a 12-game win streak, another Cinderella type story from 3-4 to 13-4. You beat the Cowboys, you beat the Seattle Seahawks, you beat your two most hated teams. You play the Eagles, number 1 seed. You have Brock Purdy, who's been killing it all season. First drive of the game, he gets hurt. Then Josh Johnson has a concussion. Then you also, going back to, Baller's point about the Devontae Smith catch, I didn't initially see it, right? I was like, all right, I saw Fred Warner get hurt, and I'm like, what the heck? Fred Warner just made a regular tackle, and he just got hurt in the NFC Championship game. Wow. Like, what the hell is going on? In the biggest game of the season, Fred Warner gets hurt just off making a regular tackle. So it was already weird to start off the game. Like, it didn't feel right. It was already weird seeing Fred Warner get hurt. And then on the 4th and 3, I didn't see it. I thought it was a catch because, like, the camera angle was showing his back was turned, and you were like, all right, I was looking at the feet. I was like, all right, he got both feet in down. It's like, all right, that's a catch, right? Unless something else happened. But then once you watched it after and the TV angle showed it from another end, like the TV replay showed it from another angle, you're like, that's a drop. And I was watching the game at my uncle's house. My uncle was like, Shanahan should have challenged that right away. And like, to Baller's point, when you're rushing to snap the ball at the line and Devontae Smith is running back to try to snap the ball, that's a telling sign that, all right, it's not a catch, Shanahan. If that was a clear-cut catch,
He
He didn't even use a timeout in the first half. Okay, what, you're going to waste a timeout? Guess what? You get 2 challenges. So
this is to get to the Super Bowl.
You still get to challenge it.
This is for the Super Bowl.
All 3 timeouts in their pocket.
It went downhill. It went downhill when Josh Johnson got hurt and Purdy got hurt. But you realize when they scored what, like late in the second quarter, 14? Otherwise, if Shanahan challenged that and we would have gotten the challenge, we would be up 7-0, and then they would have scored their first touchdown to make it a 7-7 game instead of already being a 7-7 game when we were playing from behind. It would have been a tie ball game. When Josh Johnson led that touchdown drive, we would probably been up, and then the Eagles probably would have scored their first touchdown. I think they did on their next drive, but they ended up going up 14-7. Though what hurts about this loss is not having the opportunity to compete. Because like I said, the Cinderella story, all this talent with your third string quarterback to make it this far and to end up losing the way that you did, not because you got beat by a better team, not because the other team played better. You got beat because your starting quarterback couldn't throw the football, couldn't do what his job is, and your backup quarterback has a concussion, is out for the game.
And was I the only one that envisioned what Trey Lance might look like in that game? There was a couple of times where I was watching Jalen Hurts and I was like, we're supposed to be seeing Trey Lance on the other side of this, like doing these same kind of things. Like, I don't know, just a couple of little glimpses when I knew the game was over.
Never crossed my mind.
Never crossed my mind. Never crossed my mind,
bro. It was like, yeah, but and then I also, when the thing happened to Fred Warner, I was kind of like, oh my god, I thought he was done. I
thought he was done. Also, I thought
he was done. I was like, oh, I'm always trying to find some kind of silver lining, optimistic twist. I'm like, oh, we're doing this for Fred Warner. We're doing it for Fred. You know, hey, shame on me for being hopeful, or as some like to call delusional.
For me, the 4th and 3, it's a mute point because I feel like we lost the game. When you have 11 penalties, when the defense is allowing 7 first downs by penalties, I mean, to me, the 4th and 3, if you want to say, well, Shanahan I mean, let's be real. That play where a receiver
was-
makes that questionable catch and they
Oh.
run up to the line of scrimmage, how often do we see that? Like we see that every week. We see that type of play every week, I feel. So I just feel like it
And a
didn't
lot of
really
times the
matter
flag
at the
is
end of the
thrown.
day. Say it again.
I said a lot of times the flag is thrown when they're hurry up. A lot of times it's like
I just feel like it didn't matter.
No,
even when
I
that's
agree with
it
you,
did-
Jay. I agree
how
with you,
can
Jay, because
but how
if you
could a
look at
potential 14-point swing not matter in the most crucial
because
game to go to the Super Bowl?
we still tied them 7-7, right? We still
It's-
tied them
it's-
7-7. Brock
It would
Purdy
have
was
been
still going to get
7-0.
hurt.
It could have been
Josh Johnson was
7-0.
still going to
But
But
that's
what
where I
if-
disagree, though,
Yeah,
Jay.
it didn't
I
matter.
disagree.
But what if Brock didn't get hurt because the flag would have changed the whole
What
rest
if
of the
Elijah
game?
Mitchell didn't get hurt? You know, I mean,
What if Trump wasn't president? Then who knows
Exactly.
what could be happening?
No, I'm
Yeah, I
with
get your point,
Kelch. I'm
Jay.
with
I get your
Kelch.
point.
If you throw the challenge flag, the 49ers take over the ball in a different spot. Who knows? The defensive
Exactly.
coordinator maybe doesn't call the same type of defense.
Exactly.
Maybe Shanahan doesn't call the same kind of play.
so
I'm
that
with
one
Kelch.
play flipped the
Once
whole
again,
game. That's what you're saying.
It could have. A game of
one-
inches. A game of
it's
inches.
look it up, Jay. It's called the butterfly effect. It's a real thing. One small change can lead to bigger changes down the road.
Real talk.
I'm not disagreeing with any of you guys, but at the same time, yes, the points would have been different on the scoreboard, and yes, you would have started off in a different field position if Shanahan actually threw the penalty, challenge flag, and he threw it, and the Niners got the ball back.
I
And
think
yes, the butterfly effect. I know what you're talking about, but at the same time, Purdy could have gotten hurt on that same drive, even with the challenge flag. So this what if game, yes, I understand your what ifs.
What if Jimmy
like
G
the
never got
whole-
hurt?
What? Yeah,
Hey,
exactly. What if Jimmy G
You know
didn't
what
get hurt?
this
What if
tells
Trey
me?
Lance didn't
You
get
know
hurt?
what
Like,
this
we
tells
can't.
me? This tells me that the penalties were horrible. Or this is what I learned. Kyle did not have it. Kyle got outcoached and didn't play his best game. The 49ers, once again, I hate the analogy. What's better? They beat themselves. I'm not going to say
Absolutely.
shot in the foot. The 49ers beat themselves. We got whooped in the trenches. Shanahan got outcoached, whether it was by a tiny bit or this much. It still happened. You know, we got beat. We got beat, and we weren't even allowed to throw like our best punch. It's like we got beat and got beat like twice.
I don't see how
Um,
Shanahan got out coached. I don't see that. I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter at this point,
I mean,
but
it didn't
he
matter
wasn't
because
even
his
really able to
quarterbacks were injured.
coach. He couldn't call.
He couldn't call his regular. He didn't. I'm telling you right now, Shanahan after the quarterbacks got hurt had to change his game plan.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
okay,
All the
let's look
pass
at
plays were eliminated.
before. Let's look at before both quarterbacks got hurt, because
Okay.
everything after the two quarterbacks went down, okay, it was over. It was a wrap. My wife's sitting here. She's like, "Is this a joke? Like, is after Josh Johnson went down? Like, are you kidding me?" I'm
But-
like,
yeah.
"No, this is just awful." But let's look at before Josh Johnson went down. Okay, Kyle Shanahan got Brock Purdy hit. Okay, maybe he didn't get him hit, but he called up the blocking scheme that had Tyler Kroft blocking Hassan Reddick. Let's go to drive number 2, where Josh Johnson also got laid out by Hassan Reddick, untouched. Shanahan tried to bring Kittle across the formation to pick up Hassan Reddick. There was no chance. Did you watch Hassan Reddick on that play? That dude just shot out of a cannon at the line of scrimmage. There was no chance for Kittle to even make. That was dead on arrival. As soon as Shanahan called that play in the headset with Hassan Reddick shooting out of it was dead. George Kittle had no shot to even make that block. That was on the second drive. That was when Josh Johnson. Remember, Hassan Reddick took him down and almost just ripped the ball out of his hands for a fumble early in that game. But like you said, Jay, the defense played undisciplined. And you know what? Here, I got to talk about something, because I actually like Josh Johnson. Like when Jimmy Garoppolo went down, and I was just going through my head, I'm like, okay, right. Remember people talking, Cam Newton, Drew Brees, who can we get out of retirement? I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, who's been in the system? And Josh Johnson came to mind. I texted one of my buddies. I'm like, hey, I wonder if we can get Josh Johnson off the Broncos. I didn't realize we could just steal him off a practice squad. But Josh Johnson, the reason why the 49ers brought him in is because he's a veteran. He's been around. He's been in the system once before. When he came in, I honestly thought the 49ers still had a chance at winning this game. And I got to say, Josh, you let me down, man. You were awful out there.
Baller.
You looked like a deer in headlights. You can't catch a snap. How about the delay of games? Not yet. I'm still going.
Go ahead.
The delay of games, unacceptable. All right. Purdy came in and
he said he couldn't hear the play. He motioned. They showed it. He said, "I can't hear the play. You're gonna have to repeat it."
Timeout.
I
got
agree.
3 fucking timeouts in the first half.
agree.
They didn't call one. They didn't call one of them. You're a 14-year veteran. You've been in the NFL. Oh, my bad. You actually been in the XFL and the USFL, but still, call a fucking timeout. Rather than taking 3 delay of games in the first half, you're leaving 3 timeouts in your back pocket. Josh, that was atrocious. I was extremely disappointed after I've been hyping you up. I said, hey, you know what? We got a solid veteran in the room. This guy threw for 300 yards for 2 different teams last year. These guys, 49ers can still get it done. Matt Mayoko at halftime is saying the game's over. 49ers don't have enough offense to come back. I tweeted Matt Mayoko. I was like, Matt, I disagree. There's still a lot of game left to be played. Sorry, Matt, you were right. Because Josh Johnson, you got your head so far up your ass, you're not ready to play the game.
He's a 4-string quarterback who wasn't on
brother,
a team his whole
he's
year.
in the NFL.
He's been on at least 10
Brother, I'm sorry.
Baker Mayfield came and played a game off of 2 days.
Brother,
He's been in this
performance.
for multiple years. He's been here for 8 weeks. No, fuck that. Josh Johnson's on the fucking team. He's got to be ready to play.
Baller, I'm sorry. What cracked me up was when you said you like Josh Johnson. I was going back. I'm like, Baller like Zach Wilson. Baller like Johnny Manziel. Baller like Josh Johnson. Baller like all the wrong quarterbacks.
He's on the team for a reason. He needed to be ready to play, and he wasn't ready to go.
Because there was no one else. He's a 4-string quarterback.
I don't care. Execute the offense. All you got to do is throw slants and jet sweeps, and we still had.
I have a lot of faith. I got so much faith.
Shit on the other side of the ball.
I think Jay in the Bay would have called the timeout. I think Amin would have looked at that clock. Amin would have looked at that damn clock, and he would have been like, "Coach, timeout, bruh.
Call a
right
timeout,
now,
man.
timeout.
Call
like we need a whole huddle."
Wait, quick question. When do you see? Because there's been this theory about Kyle Shanahan and how he doesn't allow his players to call timeout. And when was the last time you seen a 49er player or quarterback call a timeout?
Bullshit. Before you, dude, that's like just rule number 1 as a quarterback. Before you take a delay,
why didn't he do it?
You call a timeout. That's why I'm shitting on Josh Johnson. He's got his head up his ass.
But he's a 4-string quarterback. Like he was
NFL.
Because he was sitting on the couch the whole year.
How many
times? There's a reason for that.
How many times through the years have we heard there be an issue between the head coach and quarterback, and that is the most important relationship in all of football? So it kind of sounds like there's a Kyle and a quarterback problem in San Francisco that's been going on 6 straight years. No matter how it's happening, no matter who gets the blame, no matter who's getting injured, no matter who's not executing or how the gameplay was called, there is an obvious head coach and quarterback weirdness, whatever the hell we want to call it, in San Francisco. It's been there. It's been there for, probably after Jeff Garcia, man. And it's definitely there with Kyle, and it sucks. It just sucks to see the relationship of the quarterback and head coach of a really, really good San Francisco 49er team that feels like, hey, if you really go break the past 4 or 5 years down, we could have easily went back-to-back Super Bowls. We arguably had the best team in football a couple of those years, and we came up short once again. It is what it is. At this point, who even cares about the blame? It just sucks that it is what it is, to be honest.
Baller's points about Josh Johnson are valid. There's really no excuse for not calling timeouts. I completely agree, but there's a reason why this man has been on 10 different teams. There's a reason why he wasn't on anyone's roster at the beginning of the year. Let's be real. Like, and I'm not going to. I'm not saying you're blaming the game on him, but
Brock Purdy came in. He was ready to play
to win the game.
I was just like Brock Purdy came in and beat the Miami Dolphins. Brock Purdy came in. He was ready. Josh Johnson came in. He was not ready.
And okay, so ready for what? How many
Ready
snaps?
to play quarterback.
How many snaps do you really think he got in practice? Let's be real.
Can
How
we
many snaps
appreciate?
did Brock
Hey,
Purdy
yo.
get in practice?
Brock
Hey, I
Purdy
gotta-
got all the snaps.
I gotta be
The
the
last
mediator.
so what's Josh Johnson been doing the last 7 weeks? He's
He ain't
just
doing
been
nothing. Scout
he's
team
been doing the
quarterback,
same
baby.
shit Brock Purdy did when he was back up. He's doing the same shit. He's
not built for it. He is not.
Clearly,
not
clearly
built
Josh
for it.
Johnson ain't ready.
Team.
Hey,
Deer in headlights. That's what Josh Johnson was after that first drive. It's
That's
clear.
why it's unacceptable, and I was
Josh-
extremely disappointed in Josh Johnson.
who does that
That's
fall
what I'm
on?
saying.
I
Who
agree.
does that fall on? Who
That falls on
brought
Josh
who,
Johnson.
who brought Josh
Hey, it's
Johnson
not
in?
Shanahan's fault that Josh Johnson fumbled the snap. Let's be real.
Hey,
It's not his
Shanahan
fault.
could have brought a veteran that didn't have a shaky heart in a
Hey,
crucial
let's bring in
moment.
Cam Newton, man. Cam Newton would have won us the game, baby. Yeah,
He
Cam
could have
Newton
brought.
would've
He
led
could
us
have
the
brought
way.
in. Hey, he could have brought in Steve Young out of the parking lot.
Hey, Steve
could've
said on
said that.
Twitter he was ready to go. He was warming
He
up in the
was.
parking lot.
Parking
Should've
lot
brought Steve.
pimping. Parking
Hey,
lot pimping.
can I say something real quick? Can I say something though? Can I say
Yes,
something?
you can. Go for it. I mean,
That's the thing though. It's I understand baller. I understand.
I
A
understand
part
both
of
of
where
y'all.
baller's coming
Yeah.
from, because at the same time, it's not really hard to be good and lead this offense when you have so much talent. It's really not, right? And I get it. It's a playoff game. I could understand why you're being overwhelmed, and I'm 100% agree with baller on, dude. If you're in that situation and you don't understand the play call the timeout. You've been in the league for 15 seasons. Call the timeout. That's unexcusable. If you can't understand the play, and it was not even that play in particular. There was so many times where we would have delay of games, like delay of game penalty, delay of game penalty, delay of game penalty. I'm like, what's going on? Right? So call a timeout if you don't understand the play.
That's
But at the
happened
same
before,
time, like
Josh
it's
Johnson, but okay.
it's not hard to execute in this offense, but at the same time, there's a reason why Josh Johnson is the fourth string quarterback. There's a reason why he got cut by multiple teams year after year after year after year after year after year. He's the fourth string quarterback. So like I understand, like
poor JJ.
yes,
Poor
I
JJ.
understand where baller's coming from.
Yeah,
Yes,
I mean,
it's not
yeah,
hard.
taking those delay games unacceptable,
The
man.
delay of games
That's
are unacceptable.
it
I was
is.
also pissed
Unacceptable.
off, but
It
like
is.
he's a fourth string quarterback at the end of the day. So like
That's-
it's not hard to
That's not how
execute.
I look at it, though. I look at it as it's the quarterback who's in the game. I'm not looking at when you're in the game. I don't give a shit if you're the fourth string, you're the fifth string. Okay, if you're not a quarterback, okay, at that point, then I get it, right? If Christian McCaffrey, if they got to put him out there, then whatever. But hey, shout out to my boy, that Niner guy, Kelts. Find me that money gift in there if it's still loaded up in there. We got to throw some.
Hey, first, I want to get back to the Blue True. We got a super chat.
Oh, Blue True.
Stuff for the donation. Yeah, man. A great 49er season. Horrible game yesterday. No way we could compete successfully without Purdy. Yeah, real talk. We appreciate everybody who's in the chat. We see David McNiner, Cooks Sports, Steve-O, all the donations. We appreciate you guys, man. We're all disappointed, man. There's enough blame to go around to. I don't know, man. This is almost one of those games where you could blame someone, or it's just like, damn it. Even if you want to blame luck, it felt like everything came. It was a lot of different ways. It came in a lot of different ways. It sucks. It is what it is. We have a lot of good years ahead of us. Maybe we could flip the script and talk about a little bit of the future. What do you guys? It looks like Brock Purdy, but I do want to put this. Hold on, where's the other super chat? My bad to get off topic. Oh yeah, that Niner guy as well. You could go ahead and I think that might be yours, Baller, but you could go ahead and read that one.
I do. Yeah. Hey, shout out that Niner guy. That's my boy. 49ers fired up. Whenever I do that show, I bring on my boy, that Niner guy. And he's saying, hey, Baller, come on, man. Dude has not even practiced the offense, man. Dude running the scout team maybe gets 3 plays at practice. And here's what I say to that. Johnny, that's what Brock Purdy was doing. Brock Purdy was running the same stuff. He was in the same situation, yet when he got into the game versus the Miami Dolphins, he seemed prepared and he looked the part. Josh Johnson came in and shit the bed.
Well, there's a reason why he's been on 10 different teams. He's a career backup. Hey, I said, Brock Purdy, there's levels to this. Brock Purdy wasn't scared. There's a reason why Brock Purdy set all types of records at ISU. 48 games started at ISU. The moment wasn't too big for Brock, but clearly for Josh Johnson. And I mean, Josh Johnson, I wasn't expecting him to do things, but there are certain things, as you
I
mentioned,
thought they
Baller,
could
as a
still win.
quarterback, you have to
I
do.
honestly
Call
thought they still
timeouts,
had a shot
lead
at
the
winning.
offense. I get it, but the game was over. Let's be real. It didn't matter. The game was over. But
Hey,
speaking of Kelt's question about the future is
hey,
bright for the Niners.
prayers to Brock Purdy, man. Hey, man, you know, a lot
Yeah.
of people were out here calling this man a pussy. You know, excuse my language. You know, maybe what's that one word? Inebriated. Maybe, you know, some liquor had to involved some of those people's comments. Oh, Joe Montana would have came in the game.
Oh, yeah.
Tom
Oh,
Brady.
yeah.
Tom Brady would have went out there with one finger.
Back
What
in my day.
back in my day? Rodney Lott came in with one pinky. Back in my day. Yeah, man. Hey, shame on all y'all, man. Leave Brock alone, bro. Man, that man ripped his whole entire freaking arm off the bone. Like, man, what the hell do you want from him, man? You know, prayers to Brock Purdy. You know, hey, man, and for the people out there still doubting Trey Lance, what has he done to make y'all doubt? What? He's got a little bit of a wobble. Larry Kruger.
He hasn't been
What?
available. He hasn't proven that
he's
he
got a
can
little
be
bit of a
starter.
wobble. Kruger. Like, man, I don't care about that wobble. That man made some of the best passes in 1.5 games that a 49er quarterback made all year. And we could argue about the passes, but some of those passes, man, Trey's gonna be good. I believe Trey's gonna be good. I hope Brock's gonna be good, man. I just wanted to get your guys' take on the quarterback position. You know, I'm hyping it up, man. I think we got a roster that could continue to pretend. The NFC doesn't look very strong. There was even some things versus, hey, congratulations to the Eagles, but there were some things that, you know, I believe they got a lot of free agencies. You know, Hurts might be getting paid. You know, the 49ers are in prime position with 2 young quarterbacks. How you guys feeling about it?
Go, Amin.
Back in my day.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to look forward to in the future, and this quarterback position. I mean, this is gonna be a fun offseason. Now, like, I mean, obviously, it sucks that Brock Purdy got hurt. Prayers up to Brock Purdy. You know, I appreciate what he did for us this season, but this is gonna be a fun offseason. You're already hearing it right now. You're hearing it right now. Tom Brady? Question mark? Question mark? Question mark? Reunited? You know, back. You know, gets to play for his hometown team. Aaron Rodgers. You're already hearing it. Will they bring Jimmy Garoppolo back? Are they going to trade Trey Lance? Like, all sorts of stuff.
Aaron Rodgers,
Tom Brady. You're already hearing all about it. I mean, this is going to be a fun offseason, to say the least. You know, here's how I would play it if I was the 49ers. Now, I doubt they're going to bring in a Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers. You know, if that does happen, I'll definitely be surprised. But, you know, sign a serviceable third string, you know, maybe a Tyrod Taylor, maybe an Andy Dalton, a Jacoby Brissett, someone like that, you know, that's a serviceable third string, and then let Purdy and you know, Trey Lance compete for the starting job next year. You know, I doubt, you know, Brock Purdy will be at 100% by July. You know, I think that's when he can finally start throwing the football and getting back into, you know, football action. But, you know, it's definitely a long time. But let's say Trey Lance is quarterback number 1. You know, he makes promising strides in training camp. He makes, you know, he's the starting quarterback week 1, and he shines. You have Purdy to back him up, and you need him to back him up if the hypothetical of Trey Lance ever getting injured in the regular season. And then if Brock Purdy gets hurt, you have a serviceable third string that can come in and, you know, come in and play. So I would right now, you know, obviously with the Purdy injury, I would keep him on the roster. He showed me that he can execute this offense. And the biggest thing that he showed me is that Shanahan trusts Brock Purdy. And that's something that you haven't seen with any other Shanahan quarterback, any other quarterback in Shanahan relationship with the 49ers, is that Shanahan trusts Brock Purdy. So I would keep him on the roster. I would give both these guys an equal opportunity to compete. If they don't bring in like a Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers, I would give both these guys an opportunity to compete. And whoever wins the starting job as a quarterback week 1, you have a quarterback to back him up. And you also have, the Niners should, which I think they will, sign a serviceable backup who can come in. If they ever in a situation like this in a playoff game or it's a must-win game, that you have a serviceable backup if your first 2 quarterbacks get injured that can come in and that can, you know, actually give you a shot to win the football game. So that's
Josh Johnson.
Zach Wilson, maybe Zach Wilson. You know, no, I'm just kidding.
I'm interested.
How you feeling?
Zach Wilson,
Eric?
really?
Well, I gotta say what's up to my boy, that Niner guy, coming through with another super chat. He says Trey Doubt comes from the national media crapping on him. The door is open for Trey. Either way, Brock and Trey will get this team back here in 23. That's the positivity I needed to hear right now. Thank you, that Niner guy.
And can I add one last thing? Can I add one last thing?
Please
I was
do.
gonna
Please
hold
do.
back on Jimmy, but does anybody want to talk about Garoppolo? Steve-O had it, threw it in.
No, get rid of him. Get rid of him.
No.
Nah, but can I add one last thing about
You
Trey
never
Lance? Is
know.
that it's unfair to criticize Trey Lance because he hasn't gotten the opportunity to play. You can't criticize Trey Lance and be like, he's a bust, he's not good, he's trash, the Niners should trade him, because he hasn't had the opportunity to play. If you're basing that off the 2 games that he's played, really the 2 games that he's been able to play this year, and you're basing it off that, that's such a small sample size. And you can't blame Trey Lance because he hasn't had the opportunity to play. So if you give him the same amount of games like Purdy, for example, you give him 7 or 8 games and he's the starter next season, and you give him 8, 9, 10, 11 games, and you don't like what you're seeing from Trey Lance, and Trey Lance is struggling, and you're like, all right, you know what? Trey Lance doesn't look like he's the guy, or he's not ready yet. That's fair criticism. Right? Based off what you're seeing on the field, he has equal opportunity. You're not liking what you're seeing. But if you're basing it off right now that you don't like Trey Lance because he's not healthy and he's not able to play and he's not able to prove to you and not able to show off his capabilities on the football field, that's just unfair criticism. It's not fair to criticize Trey Lance or call him a bust or say he's already a bust for the 49ers because he hasn't gotten the opportunity to prove himself. So once you give him the opportunity, then it's fair to say if you like Trey Lance or you don't like Trey Lance. If you think Trey Lance is the bust or you think Trey Lance is the franchise guy for the 49ers for the next 15 years, I don't care. But you have to give him the opportunity to prove himself. And unless you do that, you can't say Trey Lance.
How many games does he have to play before you can just pass judgment? Like, is it like
I would
6
give him,
games? I mean,
Purdy
had like 4 or 5, and then he was.
I would give him at least 8 to 10 games.
Who,
That's
Trey
just me.
Lance?
Trey Lance.
I think Trey Lance got put in a situation where, he's on a roster that's built for right now, right? But he played what? I think 18, 19 games in college. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, man, this man, Trey Lance, needs a full. I think he's going to do well. I think he's going to, and I think he's going to do pretty dang well straight. He's going to have hiccups, right? But I think he can even play at least 500. And I think he's going to play better than 500 ball. But to be fair, I think he deserves it. Hey, we're in the generation of I want it now. I want it right now. JG Wentworth, whatever it's called, I want my money now. You know what I'm saying? It's like, hold on, pump the brakes, and I'm not the most patient person in the world, but given Trey's circumstances, you got to give that man time, and he's going to shine. He's going to shine. Like, hey, a lot of people throw out Josh Allen. Not everybody's going to be a Pat Mahomes, but it looks like I still feel like Lance could have Pat Mahomes type qualities and tendencies, and maybe not exactly like him. Nobody's exactly alike, but I think he has a tremendous ceiling. It's like, how can a lot of people go from, man, his ceiling is this, he's the dark horse MVP, and what did anything happen to change that? Just because he got hurt, just because he didn't get the opportunity, you're going to miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. And it's not his fault he wasn't able to take shots. You know what I'm saying? It's like, whether it was Garoppolo, injury, he's going to get a shot and he's going to shine. And a lot of people are going to still probably hate because they're weird like that. But, I'll let y'all take it off from there.
As a fan base, do you think they'll give him a
quarterback.
year? As a fan base, do you think they'll give him a year?
Nope.
No.
Exactly.
Hell
No,
no.
they're not giving him a year.
You got about 4 games if Purdy's healthy.
Yeah, well, I want to touch on the quarterback situation. Remember we had that report a couple weeks ago that said, did Mike Silver say? I don't want to misquote it, but the Brady rumor resurfaced, right? I want to say it was before the Seahawks playoff game. It's like, where is this coming from? And I laughed at the time. I'm like, come on, man. Are you watching this? We got BP. We still got Trey Lance. But now, fellas, I got to say that I'm not in the camp where I want to bring Brady in. I'm still saying, no, you know what? Purdy's still here. Trey Lance should be ready by training camp. But if the 49ers did decide that, hey, you know what, we're bringing the GOAT in, right? If John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan determined that was what's best in their opinion for this team, I wouldn't argue it. Just with this new injury to Brock Purdy in the fold, whereas 2 weeks ago I said, no way, that's freaking ridiculous, right? Brady didn't look great this year, fellas. You know, I mean, we saw Brady. We saw him in the playoffs. We saw him. He came to Levi Stadium. And it's similar to his last year in New England, right, where he had no weapons. All he had was an aging Julian Edelman, right? You know, the weapons weren't there. He had a down year. And what were people saying? Hey, Brady's washed now. He's done. He had a bad season. Well, we saw the resurgence and the resurrection in Tampa Bay. So that's the only thing in the back of my mind. It's like, we know the offensive line was bad in Tampa this year. They had absolutely no run game. So while Brady didn't look good, but it's like, you know, with Shanahan and these weapons, if it was something John Lynch and Shanahan wanted to do with the new injury in the fold, I'd be now more open-minded to Tom Brady.
I just don't think Shanahan's ego will allow him
That's
bow
possible.
down.
That's
and
possible.
Pay respect and kiss Tom Brady's rings. You think Shanahan's going to take orders from Brady? Right. Who's going to be the offensive coordinator if Tom Brady's the quarterback? It's going to be
Hey, I
Tom
read.
Brady. It's going to be Tom Brady. There's no way Shanahan's going to. Nah, Tom Brady was so disrespectful to Byron Leftwich this season, you know, changing up the gameplay a day before the game, having personal meetings with his offensive players. You think Shanahan wants to invite that to his locker room? I don't think so. Plus, Tom Brady, he's not coming here cheap unless you're telling me we're going to trade Trey Lance. But I think we get a $10 million cap hit if we trade Trey Lance. So there's no way in hell Tom Brady's coming here unless he wants to play for peanuts, which is not going to happen. But in regards to Trey Lance, honestly, I'm skeptical on Trey because he was given the opportunity. Yeah, it was 2 games. He got hurt. It's the NFL. Guys get hurt. But let's be real. He didn't look as comfortable as BP did. And those are facts. So how did Trey Lance get better this season? He didn't. So basically he's starting back from where he was this past season. So, and that was shaky. That he didn't look good. So if they want to start Trey Lance, hey, I'm all for it.
He played in the monsoon. He didn't look good. Like what? How did he not? How did he didn't look as good from last year to this year? It's like you're judging that off of the monsoon.
I'm judging that off of what I've seen from Trey Lance. I saw 3 different quarterbacks this year for the Niners. I saw Jimmy G.
Of course, but that's expected. But one guy played what 50 something games. I don't know. It's just like, of course, Brock Purdy looked good with how much he's played. I expect Brock Purdy to look a little bit better. That's just what my eyes and my logic says.
Plus, he played D1.
Like you said before, we have a win now roster. And the players, the veterans in this locker room don't have time to wait. Trent Williams doesn't have time to wait. George Kittle don't have time to wait. Debo Samuel, they don't have time to wait for Trey Lance to develop. So I would love to let's give Trey the whole season. He stays healthy. I'm down with that. Cool. But you're telling me if we're 2-2 and Trey Lance is struggling and BP's behind him and he's healthy, you're telling me that they're not going to say, hey, let's put in Brock. Brock looked good. Brock led us on that 12-game winning streak. Brock took us to the NFC Championship game. I want to give Trey every opportunity. I hope he has a successful, healthy career with the 49ers, but I don't know if Shanahan is going to allow him to struggle, you know, because when Brock Purdy came in, he hit the ground running, right? Yeah, Trey has yet to do that. So that's why I'm skeptical. He's got the tools. He's got the athletic ability, all that. He's got the arm strength. But will the 49ers, Shanahan, give him the opportunity to play and struggle?
Forget about Shanahan, right? Is that
he's the head man in charge?
I know he's the head man in charge, but let's look at the fan base. I'll give you a hypothetical situation right now. Let's say you give Trey Lance the full year to develop.
Who you calling goofy, David Hasselhoff? Man, we don't get down like that up over here with family, bro. You better cool the jets, man. I got buttons up over here, bruh. So even if we disagree over here, whether it's to my man Jay in the Bay, someone in the chat, Eric or Amin, even when we disagree, man, we got each other's back. So if you want to call someone, I don't know. I didn't look at the chat, so I apologize if I might not even know what I'm talking about. But if you're coming sideways at somebody with the goofy ass boy talk, cool, calm it down, Hasselhoff. Go to the beach, go find some babes, and get the curls for the girls and the waves for the babes, so you could just simmer it down. Cool the
Hasselhoff
jets,
needs to
friend.
tell Shanahan to let Trey play, not me. Tell Shanahan to let Trey play.
Okay,
Hey, Trey
I'll-
don't have to win the starting job. Let's be
But
Yes.
go ahead, Amin. Go ahead, Amin, because
Trey has
I'm
to
not
win the
trying to bring
starting
no
job.
anger. I'm not trying to bring no anger, spirited type stuff at the same time, or I'm not trying to be a dick at the same time. But I do protect my folks.
Appreciate
I
you,
will say that.
Kels.
All right, let's go.
Trey obviously has to win the job, but at the same time, let me give you a hypothetical. Hypothetically, going into next season, Trey wins the job. You give him a year to develop. Let's say the Niners don't make the playoffs, or even if they do make the playoffs, if they don't make it to the NFC Championship game, they get bounced in the divisional round, Trey struggles in the game, or they lose in the wild card. Or let's say they don't even make the playoffs. You think the fan base will accept that? Especially when you look at what Purdy did this season and what he was able to do in the postseason? There's no way. And if Purdy's on the roster next year, the fan base isn't going to allow that. Shanahan isn't going to. If Trey Lance takes a year to develop, which he's going to need time. And as a fan, as an understanding fan, which all of us on the panel are, as understanding faithful and people in the chat are, we know it's going to take time. Everybody pre-draft said Trey Lance is a project. Trey Lance is a project. Trey Lance is a project. He's going to need some time to develop. He's going to take some time. He hasn't had that year in the NFL yet. Next season will be his first full season if he's even able to stay healthy, right? So you have to give him the opportunity. Whereas Brock Purdy, of course I expected Brock Purdy to look better because he's played 4 years in college, D1. He has a bunch of, passing records and played D1 college football for 4 years. He has 4 years of college experience under his belt. Trey Lance had one full season. His other season got canceled due to COVID. So Trey Lance obviously will take time. Regardless of what Shanahan thinks, us as a fan base, the fan base wouldn't allow it if you had Brock Purdy sitting on the bench and Trey Lance struggles and he's taking time, he's developing. You see the progression, you see him getting better game by game. But if he's struggling and the Niners don't make it as far as they did last year with the same healthy team, if not a better team than they had last year, no McGlinchey, you improved, you added another defensive lineman, you had a good draft. With a better team and Trey Lance struggles and you fail to make it to the NFC Championship game or fail to make it to the playoffs, the fan base wouldn't allow it, and you have Brock Purdy sitting on the bench, who I'm telling you right now, fans would probably be chanting his name if Trey Lance struggles.
Why is it? I love everything you said. I mean, I know the reasons. I'm pretty sure. I know what Brock did when he came in, but it feels like it's immediately assumed that just maybe Trey's not a bust, but he just ain't it, and it will take time for. Like, what if he does? We have never even seen Trey Lance play 3 consecutive games. Like, what if, like, by game 3 and game 4, like, we're like, okay, hey, man, this guy has gotten 100 straight throws under his belt. Like, I mean, it feels like I haven't heard one person say that. Like, it's all just, oh, man, Trey, we know what's going to happen. He's going to have a couple games. He's going to suck. He'll hit bruises. Time's done. Cut the umbilical cord. I don't know. To each their own. Everybody likes to, it's hard to speak highly of someone coming in and doing big things, with the 49ers. We don't want to get our hopes up, but I was just thinking, like, I wonder why it's immediately assumed he's going to come in and struggle. And I know, he hasn't played very much, but I got faith in the kid. I think he's still going to do great, just like Brock Purdy. Either one of them. I think they could both have good careers. Hopefully they both have amazing careers. It's time and opportunity is the only judge, man. And I can't wait. Hey, there's no lack of topics to talk about as a 49er freaking fan, content creator, whatever the heck we are, man. Just guys chopping it up about the team we love. There's never a shortage, man. Anything else you guys want to talk about? Are there any major guys that are like, I see you and Mean, yep, got a dip in a minute. Is there any like major guys who could be coming off the books? You guys want to talk about McGlinchey? Should we do something with that center position? Anything else you guys want to talk about? Any last words?
Absolutely.
Get a number
Yeah.
2 for Bosa. Get a number 2 for Bosa. Anybody probably will you know, probably I think most of you guys probably would agree with me on getting a number 2 for Bosa.
Wait. You're saying trading Nick Bosa?
No,
For
I
a
said
second round pick?
oh, whoa, hey,
Whoa,
hey,
whoa,
hey,
whoa,
hey,
whoa.
hey, hey, hey,
I knew what you meant. I mean, I got. I mean,
yes. Like, get Nick Bosa some help. All right, Nick
Oh, I see what you're
Bosa.
saying.
That's what I'm saying, right? Not trade
Get a number
for Bosa,
2.
but get
So-
We got
Bosa
Drake
number 2.
Jackson, man. We got
No
Drake,
Drake
Jackson.
Jackson?
We got to allow him time to develop, man.
I
who?
mean, we have Drake
Who?
Jackson, but like
Drake is the next Alden Smith.
He's the next. I didn't say that, but you know they did.
I don't know
draft
about
him.
that, Jay.
You got to allow him to develop, man.
yes,
I mean,
another edge rusher opposite of Bosa. That's what we need. Whether that might be through the draft, whether that might be via free agency, whoever it might be, get Bosa some help. And then obviously replace McGlinchey. Just get McGlinchey off this team.
I feel like we need a monster. And that's a great point. I do want to step in because I'm looking at the Eagles, Hassan Reddick. I'm looking at who is it? Chris Jones with Kansas City. I know Bosa is a different dude. He's a little smaller and maybe stronger, but I feel, man, bro, and I'm not even getting on the DeForest Buckner type, but DeForest Buckner was our leader on defense. And that's the year we went to the Super Bowl, was the year we had him. I just feel like we need that monster. Like what they wanted Javon Kinlaw to be, he ain't. He ain't freaking it. And we need that. What we envision Javon to be, we need that. I feel like we need that record that's not just dependent on Bosa, kind of like what you're saying, Amin. But I don't care if he's outside, inside. We need a big monster. And you know, I almost said pause right there, but yeah, y'all can take it off.
I agree with you, Kelch. I wouldn't even say we need this all-pro defensive tackle. How about someone who just eats space and doesn't get moved? Because you said it right there, Kelch. Javon Kinlaw was awful yesterday. I'm sorry. He maybe had one pressure. He had one play where he kind of made the quarterback move a little bit. But other than that, he was getting blown off the ball. I'm talking Javon Kinlaw was getting pushed 5 yards back and knocked onto he got thrown to the side. Like, I had never seen such a big guy get tossed around as much as Javon Kinlaw did yesterday in that game. I was extremely disappointed with Javon. I don't think he's a starting caliber defensive tackle from what I've seen from him. DJ Jones, it hurt losing him to Denver. And that's one position, along with Amin's right, do need another premium edge guy opposite Bosa, just to kind of take some pressure off of Nick Bosa and then add more pressure onto the quarterback. But also, I'm looking at that defensive tackle position. We need a big boy in there, an immovable object on rundowns. Miles Sanders was running it. Hold up, I gotta pull up this box score. What did Miles Sanders? Okay,
absence of
he had
DJ
like
Jones.
a few big
it
runs.
actually it wasn't.
Jones.
Looking at the
Wasn't no
box
threat
score,
in the
it wasn't
game.
that good. They ran for
Yeah, he had a few
3.4,
big runs.
3.8 a clip. But if you go back and just look at
Our
Javon,
defense.
the dude's getting blown off the ball.
Calm down, David McNiner. I see you in the chat, man. Calm down, man. With Kinlaw, you thought you saw Chubb on the back of Kinlaw's jersey. That's cool, man. Hey, but here's the thing: you can't keep everyone, right? This is a salary cap league. I see in the comments, why didn't we keep DJ Jones? Because we're not going to pay him the amount of money he got. What, $10+ million a year to play defensive tackle? That's not going to happen. We want a premium edge rusher outside of Bosa, but that's probably not going to happen. You know, this team loves to draft defensive linemen, the first pick of the draft. That's what we do every year, except when we got McGlinchey and Trey Lance. But, you know, I just think it's wishful thinking to think that we're going to pay Bosa basically whatever he wants, and then we're going to sign a guy who's equally as good or maybe a tier below him, you know, a lot of money to play opposite.
That's true.
Really doesn't happen. That's this ain't Madden, man. You can't just trade everyone and sign everyone. You can't turn the salary cap off in the settings. This is the real deal NFL, man. So, hey, I think you're going to have to develop Drake Jackson. I think someone else mentioned in the chat that I think Drake Jackson and Bosa are the only two guys who are under contract. So Omen Hugh, Kerry Hyder, all those guys are basically just 1-year deals. So I envision we draft another DN. Maybe we'll bring in another veteran at the edge. But I agree, we need someone else besides Eric Armstead in the middle. And his salary cap hit is massive next year. So hopefully he can restructure. But we got to talk about Mike McGlinchey, double M, man. I thought he had a solid year. Obviously, he's one of the most hated 49ers players on this squad. I know a lot of fans will be glad when he leaves, but hopefully we have an in-house replacement, because I know the salary cap is going up, but Bosa's going to take up, a nice size chunk of that. I think Debo's contract hits this year as well. I know Jimmy G is going to be off the books, but I think we definitely need to upgrade right tackle. McGlinchey's probably going to be gone. Jimmy Ward, did you hear his post-game interviews? Whew, man. I don't think he will be back, next year. That's for sure. So we're going to have to upgrade that position, Jimmy Ward. I know Jake Brindle, center. I think we should definitely try to get upgrade. We should have drafted Linderbaum last year. I think he played every game for the Ravens this year at center. He was pretty good, but this team doesn't really value the center position. Maybe we bring back Tayshaun Gibson. Who's in favor for that?
Oh yeah. Tayshaun.
That's fine.
Hey, why not? Why not?
Samson is a free agent as well. I mean, I don't know. Meh.
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting. We're gonna probably level up somehow, some way.
Robbie Gould is a free agent. I think the major pieces are still here. The building blocks are here. We just have to add. I think the offensive line was good this year, but I think we can definitely get better at right tackle, center. I think at guard it's probably going to be the same. But I just think the major guys are there. We just need to add a little bit. I think corner, safety, offensive line, probably get a defensive tackle, another. I know Khalil Davis we drafted last year. He was on the injury reserve all year, but I just think we just need to add a few more pieces. And I think we should be right back where we were next year or this year.
Will we see Danny Gray next year? Was he just man? Will we see? Hey, do you remember how hot that was? Hey, how hot was that topic in the beginning of the year?
Trey Shanahan won't use him. He refuses
Trey
to use
Lance
the
to Danny Gray.
in the NFL. Come on, man.
Could you imagine this run game with Trey Lance, CMC, Jordan Mason, the deep ball with Danny Gray, Debo freaking jet sweep, Ayuk with the slants? Let's go. Like, are y'all, man, y'all must be out your mind thinking we won't have an unstoppable offense next year. Like, man, Trey's about to,
unstoppable.
It's about to be 49-0. Chardall said it. What? No. Nah, hey, I feel it. Hey, do you got any I agree with everything you said with great analysis on, the free agents, the Mike McGlincheys, the Brindles, all of it, man. But, something sparked in me about Danny Gray. Hey, what do you got, Baller? How do you think this thing is going to, ultimately, you got any surprises that we might see next year?
To be honest, my head hasn't moved into off-season mode. I got to be honest. I'm still licking my wounds from this loss. I'll get over it here soon. And I'll turn to, looking at some draft prospects and looking at free agency and who's available, who's got. But to be honest, I'm not there yet. I haven't looked at it. It's just a frustrating feeling today. But next time we fire up this show straight out of the Bay, I'll have some names for you, some free agents to look at, some guys who I'd want to bring back. I will say, the right tackle position, I would want to upgrade it ideally. If McGlinchey comes back at like a team-friendly deal, which you don't get too many team-friendly deals anymore, but that's something I would consider, is McGlinchey coming back. I mean, the tackle position gets paid a premium, but if it's anyway, I don't know what the market rate is, but I want to say like 8 to 10 mil per. Maybe you can bring back McGlinchey for something like that price.
They really like McGlinchey too. Or I've heard John, talk up on him.
I've heard Mayoko said the in-house option that they would be looking at is Colton McKivitz. So we'll see there. At that point, I think I'd rather have Mike McGlinchey, but defensive tackle needs to be addressed. Jimmy Ward, while I do appreciate everything Jimmy Ward did for this team, longest tenured 49er. I mean,
he seems
I'm
like
not
he's ready.
overpaying him. I'm not overpaying him. look what Tayshaun Gibson did at free safety. Hufanga's
Zach.
not going anywhere. You know, Sam Womack, I feel like he could be in line for a bump in usage in the slot. You know, the offensive, you know, Brendel could use to be upgraded. Burford had a really up and down year, man. Burford had a really up and down. Banks, I thought, was solid most of the year. Anyway, I just swear those are just some thoughts. I'm just running through what's my ballers just
I
talking
like
his
it.
thoughts.
I like
But
it.
I'm
Hey,
not
hey,
I'm not
get it.
ready to I'm not in full off season mode yet, fellas. Give me a week.
Hey, you're scratching the surface, man. Hey, how you feeling? I mean, I got off topic and off track. I forgot if you even talked about the off season, but quarterback position, draft, I don't care. Do you got anything on your mind, or are you ready to dip up out of here?
I'm with Baller. You know, it's gonna take me a week or two to, lick the wounds, process, look at this game, go back. You know, like I said, it hurts, man. Here's my analogy that I've been telling everybody. It's like the last 2 years being all right there, like inches away from the finish line. And
You're
like
right. I
you just
mean,
fall right, you
you're
fall
right.
short. You fall short 2 times in a row. And then in 2019, you crossed the finish line, but you didn't win the race. And that's the analogy that I, give people. But the last 2 years to be this close, to have those Cinderella type story runs, to make it that far, to go on winning streaks in the second half of the season, to go on a hot streak, win multiple games in a row, and then to lose the way that we've lost the last 2 seasons, it just hurts. You're right there, you're inches away from the finish line, and then like you break your leg or something and you fall right short and you just don't make it. So it just hurts. It honestly hurts. It'll take me some time to just recover and process things from this loss, but we'll see what happens. This off season will be a fun one. It's all Niner off seasons are always eventful, but man, another year. There's always next year, but that year is really far from now.
Nah, man.
Having to wait
Hey,
another year, like that's. And
real talk, man.
you're not even guaranteed the results yet. So we'll see
Hey,
what happens.
we do not want to become the team like the Buffalo Bills in the early 90s that go to like 4 straight Super Bowls and can't get one. And then there's just nothing else after that. I mean, poor Thurman Thomas and Jim Kelly and Andre Reed. And I think it was Marv Levy. I'm trying to remember the coach's name. And the
Bruce Smith.
kicker, Bruce freaking Smith, man, just those poor, man. And you just hope that the legacy and the 49ers legacy was 5-0 in Super Bowls. I know it's a new day. I know I understand all that, but you just hope that that's not how Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch's and the Fred Warners and all the other guys on this team, that's not how their legacy winds up being written with their page and chapter in the 49ers books, man. You just hope that they could finally pull it off, man. It wasn't this year. We came short again. I know but on top of it, man, there's always 2 sides of the coin. There's always, 2 sides. And it was still a remarkable year, man. It was very eventful, like Jay and the Bay likes to say. There was a lot of first time, Brock Purdy show, man. We went down to 3 quarterbacks, the injuries.
This team was 3-4.
Adversity, 12 straight wins. Haven't done that since 97. I mean, there was a lot of good things that did. It led us to go get CMC. It wasn't a 1-year rental. He's going to be back. Hey, man, if there was ever a worry about starting off fast next year, we wanted to do that this year. Kyle put emphasis on it. I want to start. It didn't happen once again. And we have all the pieces, I believe, to start fast, even if that is Trey Lance. And hey, man, don't get wrapped up in all the noise outside, faithful. Trey could come out and be immediately explosive. It is to be determined. I'm not trying to give y'all false hope, but there's no proof saying that he's going to come out and, be completely horrible or he could be completely great. It's still an unknown. And watch out for the question mark. That's just what I believe,
I love your optimism, Kelts, about Trey. I hope you're right, but he just hasn't gotten better because he hasn't played. So it's just hard for me to be optimistic. I'm not doubting the kid. I want him to succeed as much as every Niner fan. But I'm looking forward to him getting the opportunity to play. But I just have to say this: Shanahan and Lynch, please, please, please do not draft a running back in the 3rd round this year. Please don't do that. Please, I'm begging you. I mean, TDP didn't work out, at least not yet. But I mean, please, we don't need any more running backs. At least drafted on day 1.
You got me messed up. You got me messed up, Hasselhoff. Like, look, bro.
7th round will do it, sure.
Hell yeah, I'm frustrated. Like, hey, what do I got to sit up here and be like, man, F this. I'm tired of this crap. You know, that'll make me, because I said, what'd you say? Next year is our year. Laugh out loud, starting to sound like a Cowboy fan. All right, bro.
You know,
go hit the beach, bro.
We were talking in the beginning of the show. We were like, what went wrong for the Niners, and everything went wrong for the Niners in this game. And I remember on Tuesday when we beat the Dallas Cowboys on Monday. On Monday when we beat the Cowboys, you already knew I was watching Stephen A. Smith, and me and my friends, we were laughing. We were like, he was going on like, what can go wrong for the Cowboys will go wrong for the Cowboys. Laughing my head off, having fun. But that's what they say. Karma's and karma striked us, because what can go wrong for the 49ers went wrong in the NFC Championship game. Everything went wrong. Fred Warner got hurt. Shanahan didn't challenge the play. Brock Purdy got hurt. Josh Johnson got hurt. What can go wrong went wrong for the 49ers in that game. And man,
even Bosa got.
Even Bosa got hurt. Yep.
Or not, or who was that? Someone flung him into somebody, but even there was a couple times where he got manhandled too. And I was like, you're watching. They whooped us in the trenches. They typically we're the team that's more physical, and we wind up smacking someone, or we wind up coming up with the highlights or the beautiful blocks and the scheme and the wide open receiver. And hey, man, that was them. That was them. I mean, they didn't do nothing special on offense, but they didn't need to. They didn't even need to. They didn't even need to show their best punch. Go ahead, Baller.
Well, fellas, I'm gonna leave you guys with just one of my thoughts. I like to question kind of the group think, the norm of the NFL. Earlier, I brought up I think teams should use a 6th offensive lineman more often. I've also mentioned previously, now with Straight Out of the Bay, about platooning offensive line. That's not really done. Although this year, I was saying this before the year started, we did see almost like a Brunskill Burford platoon at right guard. So they might be listening to what I'm saying.
Because I brought up
coaches
I think I brought up doing that on the nickel corner. I was like, hey, I wonder if they'll start doing that. I don't know if you guys remember me saying
that. If it's more of a run-based down, maybe you have more of like a safety hybrid in there at nickel. Exactly. And then if it's a pure passing down, you bring in like a more of a coverage specialist. Yeah, Kelch, that's stuff I like to challenge, kind of the norm of the NFL, where it's like normally it's just like the slot is the slot, no matter what the down and distance is. Jimmy Ward's going to be in the slot, whatever it is. But I got one that I think you guys are going to like. And let me know what you think about this. This is an idea that could revolutionize the NFL and red zone offenses.
I'm all ears.
I want a 6'10", 7-foot red zone threat. A big boy. I want to get a guy who's like, maybe he's like fringe NBA, couldn't quite make it, but he's got
Simmons.
Some
Wiseman.
Get Ben Simmons out there.
Wiseman.
No. James Wiseman. Step on up. No, honestly, I don't think
it didn't
Wiseman
quite work in the NBA, but
I don't think he's got the hand-eye coordination, to be honest. You got to get someone a little more. My boy Wiseman, while I did like him as a prospect, he's been disappointing. But I think like a true 6'10", 7-foot red zone threat, someone you just got to put the ball up to. I think it can be successful in the NFL. We haven't quite seen it. Harold Carmichael was a former, I believe he was a receiver or tight end. But I want to say that was in the late 90s or early 2000s. He was 6'9", had some success. But I'm just leaving you guys with a thought. What do you think? 6'10", athletic red zone threat.
I think there's a reason why those guys choose to play basketball. They don't want.
But no, I see how you're saying. Just bring him in on that 5 yard, just for that little lob in the corner.
You got the ball at the 8 yard line. Little bloop, give him a shot. Because the DB guarding him, like a tall DB, is 6'3".
Yeah.
You did make me think about getting a small shifty, not a Jermichael Hasty, but you did make me think about getting a speedster. It's like, I know we got Danny Gray, but you did make me think about that shifty Darren Sproles type of running back. You know, who knows? Maybe we'll try to mix in one more running back. You know, maybe we'll see a philosophy change. I'm always talking about philosophies, or typically in the off season. Maybe we'll see, instead of us doing a little bit more trickier stuff, maybe we'll see a little bit more vanilla, just to keep things protected better, maybe just for safety. I think we could definitely see the best of Shanahan, and him just elevate just another level with everything, who he is, how he talks to the media, just everything. I fully believe he. Kyle Shanahan, he looks like he could definitely. It feels like he's getting better and better. It might not be huge margins, but you know, I don't know exactly how Shanahan is, but I'm a kind of guy. Hey, I might not move fast, but I do move forward. You feel me? I think Lincoln might have said that, but regardless,
yeah. Quick question: is it too soon to ask who's winning the Super Bowl? Is it too soon to ask that? No. That still hurt. Super Bowl prediction, real quick before we head out.
I thought I hated Kansas City.
KC.
I thought I hated Kansas City. Now I'm rooting for Kansas City.
No, I still want.
I can't root for either one though. It's like
I can't root for either one, but I still want Kansas City to lose.
I'll just say who I think's gonna win. I think it's gonna be KC. Oh, I think Andy Reid's gonna beat the brakes off of I mean, I wouldn't doubt it if it's a pretty good Super Bowl, but I think at some point in time, KC is just going to
man.
They're going to show how
y'all are sleeping on Philadelphia. I'm telling you,
Philly's front, Philly's defensive line
is ridiculous. D line and offensive line, y'all sleeping.
And Pat Mahomes got a bum wheel. We seen it. Like, he gonna be able to run.
Okay, that you're rooting. Hey, nobody rooting for KC. I'm just talking about who I think is gonna win.
I want neither to win. Can we get a tie in the Super Bowl? Can we get a tie? I want neither to win.
Can the power go out or something? Can the power go out? They cancel the game or something?
Lights out. God, man, I know. Unless something weird happened to somebody else one time, like, man, it felt like. Hey, but anyways, man, hey, we're about to dip up out of here. You guys got any final words? But I like the question though, Jay. Y'all good?
Hey, thanks for having me. Thanks for having me, fellas. Had a blast this year doing this show. Can't wait for this to continue going forward. While we do have a bad taste in our mouth from this NFC Championship game, we'll say it was a successful season, man. It was a good season. It was entertaining. A lot of these games were just fun to watch. So I'll call it a successful year, even though you feel like there's only one successful team typically in the NFL, and that's the Super Bowl champion, and the 49ers fell short. But overall, man, I'm encouraged. I think the 49ers are heading the right direction.
Oh yeah. We're gonna be here year in and year out, man. You know, I know people. I know the windows are small, but it feels like the way they've built this thing. You know, we're there, man. It sucks. It sucks. Just like you said. Hey, I did want to say, I believe. Hey, do you know who you picked last week, Jay, for the games? I know you picked 49ers, so we tied.
Probably Bengals. I think I took the Bengals to win.
Yeah. So, Jay took the Bengals, and that's why I had to catch him with the Chiefs.
And you did so, and then I went ahead. So then y'all tied
the Niners, though.
So y'all wound up tying. What was it? 1-1. Wait, hold on. It doesn't matter what the record is. So Bay Area came back and caught Jay. You know, maybe y'all could do the reverse Super Bowl picking just to make it interesting. But so it's basically between y'all two, Jay and the Bay. Bay Area Baller wound up winning the playoff picks. I was a game behind. Amin was a couple of games behind. But yeah, man, Bay Area won the first half of the season, so he's been on the picks. So if y'all be doing any kind of betting or anything, hit up Bay Area Baller. He got you at 1-800. No, I'm kidding. Hey, y'all, hey, it's been a pleasure doing this with you guys. I appreciate you guys, taking the shot with me to do this. Hopefully we continue it. Of course, it's going to quiet down during the off season, but I'm sure there's going to be free agent draft, whatever. I'm I might be taking a little break. We'll kind of see how it goes from here. But hey, man, let's keep this thing rolling. 49ers straight out of the Bay. It's been a pleasure to do this with you guys. What a season to freaking do it, man. I wish it could have been a different outcome. But hey, we're there. We're gonna keep on coming, man. The NFC is ours to, maybe we go on a good run and and go on a good, 5 to 10 years where we're in the playoffs back to back to back to back years. We see the Chiefs have done that, 10 years and or whatnot. So props to them, just because I am a 49er fan doesn't mean I won't give props where it should be due, whether they beat us or not. I see all the yees in the chat. We appreciate the chat. Y'all rocking with us all freaking year long. Yeah, man.
I would say I echo everyone's sentiments. Appreciate the chat. Disgusting, terrible way to end the season. I wouldn't wish that on my, my worst enemy. But this team overcame, a lot in the regular season. Overcame obstacles, and that's what life's all about. Just getting off the mat, and this team continued to do that. The future is bright for the squad. I just don't want to even really think about that next season, but our season's over. And, I'm still proud to be a 49er fan, still proud to be on Straight Out of the Bay, and huge shout out to the chat. What's good to the chat? Appreciate you guys for rocking with us all year. And I'm looking forward to maybe doing some off-season shows with Straight Out of the Bay. We'll see what comes to fruition. But yeah, man, had a blast all year for sure.
Yep, pleasure doing this with you, with this crew. It was fun. What a season to be covering the 49ers with all of you guys, right? 3-4, then 13-4, beating the Cowboys, beating the Seahawks. I mean, it's been a pleasure going through Purdy, Jimmy Garoppolo, Trey Lance. We've had a lot of talk. We've had, a lot to talk about this year, and I had a great time with y'all. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to, the crew, Baller, Jay in the Bay, Kelts. I had a blast doing this with y'all. It's a pleasure and it's an honor, and looking forward to doing this, next season and during the off season. Looking forward to it, and it was a pleasure doing this with you guys this season. And I'm proud of my team. Disappointed, but I'm still proud of my team. I'm a faithful for life. I'm a Niner fan for life, and I'll continue to root for this team till the day I die. So, shout out to my squad and shout out to my crew. Proud to be representing both, and we'll see y'all next time.
Absolutely.
Well said. How about you, Baller? Hey, man, and just to let the chat know, man, everybody's channel description is in the description. You hit up the description, you'll find everybody's link to their channel. Go shoot everybody subs, man. Yeah, just keep it 49er love, man. Keep 49er faithful. And if you got any last words before we cut, my man, Baller.
No,
if not,
that's a wrap. Thanks for
outta here.
tuning in. Catch y'all next time.